Welcome to Scrapbook My Life, where I tell you an embarrassing story to stop you from making the same embarrassing mistakes I did. When I started 7th grade, I wanted to redo my room. My parents said my sister and I could paint the walls and rearrange the furniture. My sister and I got to work. We painted the walls lavender and moved our bunk bed away from the wall into the center of the room. That night, I went up to my top bunk and looked around. I loved my new room. There was one problem. When the bed was pushed against the wall, a wooden bar prevented me from falling in the night. Now that the bed was in the middle of the room, only one side had railing. In the middle of the night, I rolled over in my sleep and bam! I woke up with my face smacked against the floor. I had fallen off the top bunk. I was surprisingly okay. I shook it off, climbed up, and went back to sleep. The next morning, as I brushed my teeth, I looked in the mirror. My top lip was huge. I also had a bruise that looked like a big purple mustache. My mom tried to cover it up with makeup, but it was no use. I was going to have to go to school looking ridiculous. In carpool on the way to school, my bestie Casey noticed my face. Even though I was embarrassed, I knew I could trust her to not judge me for somehow managing to hurt myself in my own sleep. But as soon as I got to class and sat down at my desk, every kid around me had a million questions. What happened to your face? Are you okay? Do you need a tissue? You have something under your nose. I had to think fast. The real story of how I messed up my face was totally cringy. Who falls off a bunk bed? So I lied. I saw this bully. He was from another school, and he walked up to me, and he tried to steal my backpack. He got mad, and he pushed me to the ground. Casey shot me a confused look. I looked back at Casey, trying to communicate, please just go with this. Everyone else was buying the story. I could tell they thought I was super brave. Then, I felt a shadow behind me. It was my teacher, Miss Cooper. She was horrified by my tall tale. Oh my goodness, we need to make an incident report immediately. Mrs. Cooper took me to the principal's office to document my made-up attack. I was freaking out. I was too embarrassed for everybody to know what really happened. The principal asked me tons of questions about this supposed bully, and I answered all of them with, I don't remember. Sarah, the principal said, we take safety very seriously at this school. Did anyone else see this happen? I panicked. Casey, she carpooled with me. I'll go get her, the principal said. Before I knew it, Casey was sitting next to me in the office. I wanted to die. But before she could question her, the principal's cell phone rang. She left the room. Casey, I whispered, please just tell her there was a bully. Casey shook her head. No, please, I begged her. You're my best friend. When the principal came back into the room, Casey blurted out, Sarah's lying. She heard her face falling off her bunk bed. I was so upset. My best friend had betrayed me, and who knows what would happen to me next. The principal looked at me. Sarah, lying about safety issues is a big deal. I'm sorry, I said. It's okay to be embarrassed for hurting yourself. Do you know how I broke my ankle last year? I slipped on some applesauce in the cafeteria. You both should head back to class. Sarah, I'll let you off with a warning this time, but you might want to have a heart-to-heart with Casey because I can see how embarrassed you are. Later that day, I caught up with Casey at the lockers. Casey, I'm sorry I got you involved in all this and asked you to lie for me. Real friends don't do that. And, like a true friend, Casey accepted my apology. Then she looked up at me, smiled, and said, promise me this, next time I sleep over, I get the bottom bunk. We both laughed. I learned to never make up a story to try to seem cool. You could really mess up a friendship. I also learned that some beds need railings on both sides. And I learned that everybody feels silly when they hurt themselves, even Principal Kelly.